Another chapter of the Greyhound experience. Yes, Greyhound. Now, at Richmond, though, they finally got us on a bus, but it was an express. And it was only going from Richmond to D.C. The problem was, it goes that they weren't sure what was going to happen once we got to Washington, that they were going to let us stay on the bus, because we weren't supposed to be on that bus, but they had a bus with seats. So there was like about 18 of us who were stranded in Richmond. So I get on the bus. Most of the people were going further, and they were going from D.C. and they were possibly going to Philadelphia. Unfortunately, I wasn't going to Philadelphia. I was going to Wilmington. So when I got to D.C., they made me get off the bus, as I was the only person going to Wilmington, Delaware. Inside the terminal there, after I've already been delayed 5 hours, they tell me the next bus from Wilmington at this time, which was around 5 o'clock in the evening. Already I was supposed to be home at 3. I'm already 2 hours from getting home where I was supposed to be, and I'm several hours behind schedule. The next bus was at 8:50 p.m. That means I would have had to wait another 3.5 hours for a bus to drop me off in Wilmington. That was unacceptable. I had a postal moment with the people there, got the supervisors out and everything. They offered me a food voucher. I already got a food voucher. I didn't want to eat. I wanted to get home. I mean, 24 hours a week. I was already up over 24 hours at this point. They offered me a voucher to ride the bus. The last thing I wanted to do is ever ride Greyhound again, or give a voucher to someone else. If I gave a friend of mine a voucher to ride on Greyhound, they wouldn't be my friend after that. So there was no way I was taking that either. All they could do was give me a bus ride on an express bus to Philadelphia. It was as close as they could get me. So they gave me a ticket for a 5:15 bus. Here's my thing. 5:15. I stood at that door at 5:12. The bus had already left without me. They forgot to tell them to wait for me. I had to wait next till 6:30 p.m. for a bus that was going to take me from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia. Drove past my house within a mile of my front door. They would not let that driver stop at the Wilmington Depot for an extra 10-minute delay and made me drive all the way to Philadelphia. So that's what they did to me then. They drove me all the way to Philadelphia. I had to call everyone I could get a hold of to try to get someone to come drive for 45 minutes to Philadelphia to pick me up, because Greyhound didn't have a bus. If I had waited for the bus that would have taken me to Wilmington, I would have gotten home at midnight. Instead, I walked in my door at 10:45 p.m. I was supposed to have been home at 3 p.m. Never ride Greyhound. That's all I can tell you. I'll be writing letters to everybody I can. I got a complaint form. They gave them to us. I filled it out, but I'm going to write more to it. I was warned, do not give these complaint forms to the people in the depots. They tear them up. Because last thing they wanted is more complaints about them. Because I've seen over 50 complaint forms handed out over the course of just this trip from South Carolina to home. Seen a lot of people get complaint forms, and who knows what happens with them. People are rude. I can understand they probably don't work for a lot of money at Greyhound, a lot of these people at the depots and everything, but when a lady closes a concession stand for a 15-minute break and it turns into a 90-minute break, you can't get anything to eat or drink. There are concession stands. In both cities that I was at, that I looked at the concession stands, they refused to turn their grill on to cook anything. You had to eat food that had been stale and left out for hours on end. Heard stories about people standing on buses. They were so crowded. I think that's against the law for a person to stand up on a bus like that. But they do it, and it's time for someone to stop it. So if I can write letters and complain, that's what it's going to take. But I could say a whole lot more about Greyhound. But what else is to say? It's just do not ride Greyhound. Feel sorry for anyone else that ever does. It's an awful experience. If you're going from more than one city, if you're going to ride Greyhound for more than a 2-hour period, from one stop to another, don't ever do it. If it's going to be a ride that's going to go over 3 or 4 hours, so you have to make a lot of changes, don't do it, because you'll never get there on time. It's a guaranteed fact. To see people lose their luggage and bags. They take them off the buses, sit them next to the bus, and they go elsewhere. People steal luggage. It's gone. And if they don't tag it properly, because they don't tag a lot of their luggage that you put on the bus, it's lost. They put my bag on the side of the ground. If I didn't get off the bus and go out there and put it back on the bus, it would probably been stuck there in Raleigh, North Carolina, still sitting on the ground. And talking about luggage, my bag was 7 pounds over their weight limit. They charged me $32 to carry my bag to put it on that bus for the ride home. $32 is half the cost it was for me to sit on the bus. $32. That's almost $5 a pound that they charged me. $5 a pound for my bag being 7 pounds over. Thank you, Greyhound. You're a criminal. Like I said, it's all part of the Greyhound experience. I heard Amtrak was bad, but Greyhound takes the cake. Greyhound. Do not ride Greyhound.